We're live.
Dang.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is Small Axe Talks. It's been a while. I'm here with Sam, and I just want to say real quick, thank you to anybody who subscribed to the channel from the Slab City video. We appreciate that, and hopefully we're going to be having some good interviews coming out here soon with local business owners and things like that here in Phoenix. So I guess we'll get kind of right into the podcast. It's been a while, so I'm a little rusty, but Sam's back. And we're just going to kind of bullshit and just kind of talk about just kind of random stuff this episode. So hopefully it's not too boring for everybody. But Sam, thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, man. So what's been going on? I can't remember when the last one we did was, but it's been a while, and there's been a lot of
pre-pandemic.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. And what's been going on in your life recently?
A lot of work, a lot of medical issues. And more work, moving. I mean, you name it, it's been going on. Closed the business down because of the COVID stuff. So hopefully we can get that going again. But yeah, if you name it, it's probably gone bad in the past year and a half. So
Yeah,
for sure.
So just for people listening, during like the height of the pandemic, you were doing a lot of working with that. What was the one app again?
Oh, so it's I was doing Instacart, which is a grocery delivery app, but then I started doing my own, which was it was called Dumpling. So it's similar to Instacart, but say you hired me, I'm always a shopper and go to any store, multiple stores, same order. So I was doing that, and then I also picked up a part-time job at Sprouts because again, don't have the shop, so I need income coming in. So balancing both of those, that was going good, and then after the pandemic kind of slowed down and people stopped wearing the mask and all the mandates went away, the shopping business thing died quite a bit.
And why'd you like what was the one Dumpling? Was that better than the Instacart?
Yeah, because you get to set your own money or your own fee, and then you get customers that, so far I've seen, realize what they're paying for and what they're getting. So it's not like some cheapers and like, oh, I'm going to give this Instacart guy nothing, like, oh, here's a $20 tip, and then when you get it, I'm going to take it away, and then you get $3 worth from Instacart.
So that's more. That sounds more like Uber Eats or something like that. Where as far as like the people, like you said, as far as the tip, whereas the it's you, the same person every time.
Yeah, same person all the time. And these people know what their service they're paying for and understand what they're doing, so they take care of the
person,
their employee or their worker, or whoever you want to call us. So yeah, they tip very well, and they don't mind the fee that you're charging. And yeah, and then after a while, it started getting towards like Christmas time, all that. They started leaving gifts and like gift cards in a card, or they're leaving me things of food or mask or cleaner, stuff like that, just as a thank you.
Because they know you.
Yeah, and it was nice. I mean, I've had people do that for me before from doing Instacart.
Yeah,
everything they leave is complaints and you name it.
Yeah. So how was like working for like a grocery store right now, like a grocery store chain, a big grocery store chain? Like how is that business right now?
It's pretty much back to business as normal. It's not as busy as it was during the pandemic stuff now. People are definitely a little more relaxed coming out. Hardly anybody with masks, which is fine. Don't bother me. Yeah. But I can see them definitely trying to ramp it back up. I think the stores are going to start implementing the mask stuff to make you feel safe. Yeah. But I can also see maybe the stores also making it a requirement for employees to have vaccinations. I think they're going to lose a lot of employees because I know majority at the store I work at, it's about half are vaccinated and half are not.
And half that don't want to get the vaccine.
They don't want to do it right now. They're still waiting to see, is it going to get FDA approval? Is there going to be side effects? Because it's still a new vaccination, Myrna vaccination. So that's, I think, what's going on. That's what I pick up. I mean, you can get a lot of customers that are not vaccinated, and they're talking about it. And then, of course, you get the ones that are, and the ones that still want to wear the mask and the gloves and don't want you to be anywhere near them, but they still want to talk to you. And it's like, I mean, what do you want? You want to call me on the phone so I can try to help you find what you're looking for? Because you don't want to interact with me, but you're in the store where I'm at. So
yeah, I was surprised, honestly. Did you hear that Google and Facebook just both recently announced that they want all their employees to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I
was
saw
surprised
that. New York's doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So
with
if you saw
restaurants and stuff like that, you have to
gyms,
prove.
all government employees, all medical employees.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
So I want to talk more about that, but I want to talk about that maybe in a little bit.
Cool.
More, drink a little bit more of this beer before we get into that. But can we talk? So for people listening, like for a while now, you've been talking about like potentially wanting to move outside of the U.S. and like Mexico is a spot that you're interested in.
Yeah, definitely.
Currently.
I obviously they don't know. I've talked to you about it before. Me and my girlfriend and some family members and some friends are all interested in getting a place out of the country, whether we want to be in the Caribbean. So interested in Tulum, Mexico, Roatan, Honduras, but we all want to go on where we can get money and do like a little community thing. So we can either get property or a couple of different condos or you name it, but preferably property so we can get like those boxable homes. I don't know if you've been seeing those, the one Elon Musk is living in, or shipping container homes so we can have a really small, easy, cheap house to put up on the property, and then say you came in with us and we're down there at the same time living, and you need to come back and do whatever you're doing here for your job for a few months. While we're there, you can rent out your spot and we can keep an eye on it and do like a Airbnb bed breakfast type thing. Take care of them, have it like solar, some gardens, just try to live as much as we can off the land there, but also have income coming in for rental, things like that.
So what part of Mexico is it? Tulum, right?
Tulum.
Why are you interested in that part?
Well, right now I'm interested because I'm into all the Mayan temples and stuff, the Aztec stuff they have down there. It's also the up and coming spot. It's like the hot spot. So if you're going to try to do Airbnb place somewhere to make money, why not go to one of the hottest spots there is? Because you know you're going to get the money if you have a good location. I mean, obviously you got to be pretty close to the beach, if not on the beach. But the closer you are, the more money you're going to get, and people pay top dollar for that, and you can make a living. And then you're in a big and upgrowing stuff, so there's a big tourist community down there, so you can speak English, you can speak Spanish. You don't have to have just one language or the other.
So you haven't been down there yet, though, but you're
We're planning a trip hopefully in October if they don't lock stuff down and get all weird again to start scouting and looking for stuff. So we have a realtor sending us stuff as we speak. We're going through it and looking at it. And
so have you seen like any like land prices? What is land worth? Is that what you're kind of thinking? You get a piece of land and then you put some structure on it?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's not just, okay, you buy land, but what do they allow down there to be built on it? So that's more of the things she's giving us stuff on it, and also showing us condos and things that are in upcoming communities that we can rent and buy, because everything's already there. So, hey, we're down there for 6 months of the year. That are 6 months, we can be renting that out.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I don't know anything about Mexico or like building codes or anything, but from what I've heard, they're pretty like relaxed compared to like a lot of the U.S. as far as what you can do and stuff like that.
Well, that's the other thing you look at, because I know some of the local contractors around there don't necessarily do a good job from what I've been researching and doing. So sometimes you want to get a contractor that is from another country that's working down there. So if you're going to have if you're going to go into one of those communities where they're building new condos and stuff up, you want someone that's internationally been doing stuff.
So it doesn't collapse on you?
That, or they just, don't cut corners like, oh, they like getting it done right, or this ain't done right, things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you definitely don't want it collapsing on either, but you never know.
So what are you leaning more towards, though? Like, if you really did it, like could you see yourself more with like some sort of like off-grid setup? And
so that's the end goal, but right now it's more as just whatever is feasible financially, and everybody that's going in on this is interested in doing to get your foot in the door. So if we start with one condo and we all split it and live there, because we're all like family, so it's not like there's an issue with that. And then we start renting that, make money, and now we can get another spot, and then we have two, and then keep going from there, and then maybe get the property or the land.
So why have you always wanted to live, more toward? Because you inherited some property recently, and wasn't it in Florida? Was it nowhere near? Like,
it wasn't by the beach, but so I grew up in California a lot, so we're always at the beach.
Oh, okay.
I love the beach, the vibes you get there, the weather, just the whole atmosphere. And then I've been down to Florida several times, into the Gulf Coast area, up and down that area, Louisiana and Georgia, you name it, all along the Gulf there. And I love the water. It's warm. You can see through it. I enjoy that whole vibe. So that's that's what I'm into and where I want to be. But
There's nowhere in the U.S. though that you're like, this is someplace that I'm interested in or could see myself in.
you know, if I was going to have to stay here, and you know, I may have to end up staying here anyway. So I do like it here in Scottsdale and Arizona for the most part. Yeah. I really like here. Another place that I visited and I really enjoyed was Bend, Oregon. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah, Ben's cool. I've been there before.
So I mean, I could live. It's a cool little place. It's hip. It's got
like
stuff going
granola.
on. There's a lot of cool stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's very like granola, like kind of
and so it's like a college town without a college.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very fun. A lot of breweries, cool Oktoberfest. You do some whitewater rafting, cool parks.
Yeah, I lived in Portland for not that long, less than a year, but I thought it was a cool vibe, and like you were saying, like there's cool breweries, there's cool coffee shops, and it definitely, I don't know, like that's one thing that I don't like about Phoenix or Scottsdale or wherever you are is, you have to drive everywhere pretty much, so it just feels like there's less, I don't know, like community type vibe. Whereas there was a lot of like different little neighborhoods. I can't remember, like I've already forgotten, like Hawthorne and like like there was all these weird, and they all had like their own little downtown. So they all had kind of like their own, like, yeah, you could go to downtown Portland, but that was like a total, like you didn't have, like if you lived in this neighborhood, you kind of had like the vibe in each neighborhood, which I thought was cool.
It's getting that here, but slowly, but it is finally starting to pop
like
up.
Arcadia, more. Like a lot of people like Arcadia.
Yeah, you got Arcadia, and then you got downtown Gilbert and downtown Chandler, and it's not huge. It's just this little small, compass.
Downtown Gilbert is actually pretty dope. I just went there recently. I'd never been there before, and it's actually pretty cool, I thought.
Walked up and down there? Did you go
there?
there?
Yeah. We went to some local restaurant. I can't remember the name. It was like some family-owned like diner that has been there for a long time, and it was really good. And like they have like a bunch of other like stuff that we have here in Phoenix. Like I think there's like a Joyride and like Postino and like that type of shit. But I was looking for more. We were looking more for like the like the local family type. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool
it's
vibe.
nice. It's definitely up and coming. My buddy down there has a little coffee shop down there called Space Coffee.
Hell yeah.
In downtown Gilbert. So and then we're trying to maybe do something together up here as well.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it had a unique little vibe. Like as far as the rest of Gilbert, at least just what we saw, I wasn't super, because it's all very like, it's new, it's like cookie cutter. You know what I'm saying? That's like not. I hate that type of stuff. But I mean, it's new. This was new. It's nice. It's clean. But I really like that downtown part because at least it's like, unique.
Yeah, and it's got a vibe to it. And
exactly.
It's old, and it's pretty much all the old places. Like even. I know they keep fixing up even Old Town Scottsdale, though, strip there. You can see some places I've been there for a long time, and some of the newer stuff.
I feel like Old Town Scottsdale could be so much better than what it is. Like it should be. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
they could definitely do some work to, I guess, make it flow better or do something. Because it is just in fact, maybe on the weekends close the main strip of Scottsdale Road through Old Town, just close it through traffic and just let it all be the golf carts and people walking.
Yeah, that's a good fucking idea.
Help, and then maybe have like little vendors set down the middle of the street or something.
People will probably be so pissed though that Scottsdale Road is closed that they'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
but that's a great idea.
It's not too hard though because the traffic there is so slow and so congested. It's easier just to go around the little like Goldwater, the little cutoff streets.
The loop.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, because you have like on the east side is like a lot of the club type shit, and then more on the west side is a little more like relaxed and chill. Yeah. But I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. It could be so much better. I don't know how, but
I think that would help. I think closing that street, at least on the weekends, would be huge. Not all day, just in the evenings. Starting, 4 o'clock in the evening till 5 o'clock the next morning. It's closed to traffic.
Yeah. So is there, back to like just moving out of the country type thing, is there anywhere else like in the world that you would ever consider living?
There's a place that I see on TV. I've never been there.
You think you're interesting?
Spain, as far as what I see, seems really cool.
Beautiful.
Greece.
Yeah.
But definitely anything in the Caribbean is the big draw for me. I like the weather and all that. So basically, a lot of it is in Greece, you're by the water, or Spain, you can be by. You don't have to be, but it'd be somewhere along the water is what I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
So places like that, a lot of the Mediterranean and Caribbean, Mediterranean type stuff we're looking at.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear if you guys get down there in October. how that goes. And
better
I'd love
yet,
to
you
go.
can
I'd love to
go,
go.
and
Yeah.
you can bring the stuff and just do some podcasts there with locals
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, and document our trip down there, what's going on.
That'd be sick. I'd love to. I've never been to Mexico, and I've wanted to go. So yeah, that'd be
So
interesting
there we go.
trip.
So we already got planned.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. Well, hopefully, like you said, everything doesn't get whatever locked down again, and we'll be into that. So
Or if we're allowed over there.
yeah. So what else? Like, I guess I don't know if you want. I guess we'll talk about it right now, but like the whole vaccine thing, just because that's a big thing that's going on right now and something that's interesting. And, like COVID, a lot of people thought COVID was kind of winding down more after a lot of the mask mandates were kind of loosened up and people thought, hey, okay, now I get vaccinated, I don't have to wear my mask. And it seems like it's reversing a little bit right now. So
Yeah.
where do you see that going, just in your opinion?
I see it. So basically what they're doing and how they're doing, I think they've done a horrible job of selling the vaccination to the people that don't have it, me included.
Yeah.
And in the way they're doing and what they're doing now is causing a huge divide between us as Americans, as a people.
The way that
you're
they're
already
like,
starting to see it. They're basically pitting the vaccinated against the unvaccinated.
yeah.
And it's causing a lot more harm than it is good, and they're not doing a good job to try to stop that. They're just more worried about pushing this and this, but to me, I don't think they're doing a good job explaining it and getting the info they need out there, and definitely not doing a good job of trying to divide us down the middle here.
Yeah, because for this whole pandemic generally, since the beginning, there hasn't been like an overwhelming amount of like guidance. As soon as they admitted that you needed the mask, that was kind of the general thing. Go out when you need to, whatever, essential workers, wear your mask. And then when the vaccine came along, that was kind of the next step was, hey, here's this vaccine, go get vaccinated. So there really hasn't been like I feel like a lot of a lot of guidance. I guess maybe there hasn't been a lot to say, but like you said, the way they've done it more recently, as far as the media, demonizing people that are not vaccinated. And that's what I think is so interesting, because I've been kind of quiet about it for a while because I've just been kind of watching what's going on. But for the main talking point for a while was like, if you're not vaccinated, you are the only ones that are spreading these different variants. And that's the reason why you're so bad is, you're spreading these variants, whereas the vaccinated are not. And, if you do potentially get COVID, it's not going to be very severe, supposedly.
Yeah.
But now the narrative more is coming out more recently, like very recently, in like the past week or days, that, vaccinated can still spread these different variants, but it's just still, again, it's not as severe and life-threatening. So it's still beneficial to get the vaccine. So why is it that because it's like half, at least in Arizona, I think in Arizona it's like less than half are fully vaccinated. But as far as the country overall, I think it's half fully vaccinated, whatever, somewhere around 60% or so have had at least one, shot.
Yeah.
Jab. I hate that fucking term jab. I think it's so stupid. Yeah. Or inoculated. I think that sounds weird. But anyways, so it's like half the country though that doesn't want to take it. So I'm interested to see where they go with it and how they kind of try to persuade people, because like you said, the whole route of demonizing people doesn't really seem productive.
Yeah. Well, so the problem I get with is, and they'll argue to their blue face, but it goes both ways. It's not FDA approved yet. It's FDA approved for emergency use. It hasn't passed full FDA approval yet. So now, don't worry about it. It's FDA emergency. Go ahead and do it. But the same people that are saying that also are the same people that won't take a certain kind of drug from whoever because it's not FDA approved, or this isn't safe, or this isn't safe because it's not approved by the Food and Health Administration or whatever, the FDA. So
why do you think that is, though? You think people are just so scared
I
that
think
they're
they've done a good job of scaring people, and I mean, you have a right to be scared, but a lot of people are dying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scary thing, and so I've already had it. I survived.
You had COVID?
I did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was mean, but
When was that?
It was last year.
Because I had it in October. Me and my father both had it.
No, it was before that. It was at the very early onset of the whole thing.
Stages, yeah.
And I was out about 3 weeks. It was bad. It wasn't as bad as when I had pneumonia. And again, everyone's different. Pneumonia almost killed me.
No shit.
This did not almost kill me. But again, everyone's different, and that's the same thing. Everyone is going to be different. Some people can get the vaccine and be fine. Others won't. But it's like I'm a villain for wanting to wait for it to pass FDA approval. And oh, look, you need 6 months of evidence before it can get approval for FDA. It hasn't even been 6 months, so you want me to take something that you don't know if it's going to be safe or not. Granted, yes, there hasn't been a lot of big issues, but I've had it. I lived. I'm fine. Why am I going to take something else that, you know what, I may have a reaction to that, and now I'm screwed.
So here's what I don't understand is like the narrative is, okay, so let's say like everybody in the US, let's say like 90% of people got fully vaccinated and you had the majority of people were on board. Like the overall narrative right now is the reason why they're rushing it so quickly is because they want everybody to get it, and then that way that it'll just essentially kind of fucking disappear. But then you have all these other countries like, you know, poorer, more third world type countries who they've admitted, you know, these first world countries, our government, that they potentially won't be getting these vaccines for years. So you know that they're going to like mutate or whatever. These strains are going to develop.
Well, it's not going to go away. It's
so that's what I don't understand is like, so yeah, let's say everybody here did get vaccinated and now they're admitting that there could be these new strains that potentially develop. Like what is that keeping those new strains from getting here that these vaccines don't protect against? That's what I don't understand. Exactly.
Unless you start to ban all travel from other countries there, and they won't do that.
So that's
not
why
forever, at least.
That's why I'm so interested to see how this progresses, because do they just like push it as much as they can and get as many people vaccinated, and then like they are doing now, they're admitting that vaccinated people can spread these different variants. So they just kind of change that. That's what I think they'll do. They'll just kind of change the narrative because it just doesn't make any like logical sense.
It goes to show again. I may not know what the hell I'm talking about.
I don't either.
These are questions I'm asking. But that's the other thing. You ask these questions, like, don't ask, just do it. Why are you asking questions?
Yeah.
God forbid anybody that works for a government or for the medical field that could be corrupt or do anything bad. And that blows my mind that a lot of these people think, oh, there's no one bad in that, but only bad people are in the police force, or they're only work for a grocery store or whatever. But there's no bad people, no corrupt people or whatever work for the government for this, even though history's proved that there has been numerous cases of that.
I think it's just so big, though. That's like the main, like, you can't wrap your head around the fact that something this big would be.
Oh yeah, no, it is big,
know?
but.
Like, there's no way that, like, if I was like a normal person, I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to go get the vaccine, because there's no fucking way.
Yeah, but they also do scare you into that.
Yeah.
And I look at it as, you know what, we live on this world, everything can kill you. It's either you choose to live life and take your chances, or you don't. Now, I'm not saying just go out there and start spraying to everyone as much as you can, but if these people are so worried about viruses and colds, then you might as well just stop living life. You might as well wear a mask all the time, because there's pneumonia, there's the flu still. I mean, you can get all kinds of, there's STDs, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that you can get.
Yeah.
And it's always preventable, but it requires you not to interact with anyone ever again. And I mean, that's not a world I want to live in. I want to take my chances. I mean, I can go out tomorrow or right now on my way home and get killed by someone drinking and driving.
Yeah.
I can have a heart attack and fall over.
But I think
you don't know.
If you say that to somebody, though, they're like, this is different because this is like a disease, you know, and now that there's this vaccine, you're just being selfish, because why would you not get it if it could like help the overall whatever, you know? So, whereas
and I get it, I do understand that. And so I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti-rushing into something that is still a relatively new medicine, because again, these people forget these same people making these vaccines are the same companies that make all these other drugs that have
opiates
come out and find out, oh yeah, it causes cancer, oh it causes this heart issue, it causes that, and it gets pulled off the market. But how long it takes for that to pop up. And it may not. Who knows? Maybe they had the
Hopefully
best
not. Hopefully not, because a lot of people.
Yeah,
Have,
and and that's the other thing. If you can still get it and still spread it with the vaccine, but it's a less case, don't worry about me now. You have your thing, so you can still get it from someone that's vaccinated or not vaccinated. It's still going to be mild for you, supposedly. So what's the problem? If I wanted to take the chance of me getting something that's really bad and dying, then don't worry about it.
That's why I think their narrative is kind of falling apart when that started to come out.
So don't worry about it. And then again, I understand also, there's the people that can't take the vaccine because of other health issues.
Yeah.
So it's not fair to them. Well, again, I guess that does suck, but that's part of the world we live in. What have they been doing up until this time? I mean, there's so many things that could kill them.
Yeah.
They're just not living. I mean, you got to draw a line somewhere and use your common sense or brain that you have. Not all of us are bad. Yeah, there are some crazy people out there, conspiracy theorists, nuts, that just believe everything's bad and all that. A lot of us aren't. But you make us out to be because we choose to ask questions and we're not getting the answer we want. We're like, on the news says so, or this doctor says so, and whoever. Why is it always just the info has to come from one doctor or people they allow on the news to talk? What about these other doctors that are saying, hey, we've been finding this? Oh, they're conspiracy theorists. Oh, they're not. Don't listen to them.
That's what I think is interesting more recently is the people that have been getting, like anybody who has an opposing sort of view, they're getting, silence on social media, which in one, like I kind of get that because it is such like a serious time, and this is like, especially when they're trying to push this vaccine, they don't want people speaking up. But like when you said, it's like, if somebody credible has something to say, then they shouldn't be like shutting people down,
Yeah, and that's the thing of that. So as far as them censoring social media, I'm under the thing is, say Facebook. If the owner of Facebook wants to censor stuff, it's his right. It's his business. He owns it. People may not like it, but then you can go to another site that allows that.
Twitter
I know it makes people mad, but it's when the censoring is coming from the government telling him to censor that. Now that's where the problem becomes.
Yeah, but there's not
him as a business wants to do it. Fine. You know what? We may not like it, but that's.
Yeah, but the government, the government is obviously speaking to all these different.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they have high influence.
But there's not that many. I mean, there's Facebook, Twitter.
Oh yeah.
YouTube.
Well, so that's the problem.
Google. YouTube is owned by Google.
They own the power, but there are other platforms you can get it out there. But again, it's.
But they're not nearly. Yeah, they're not. Yeah. They're not nearly as. No, like there's very few large social media.
So
platforms.
Facebook has a lot of power and control, and so does the news media, and it's sad. And again, it comes back to is. Oh, science is never wrong and all that. I'm not saying science is ever wrong, but how do we know the scientist that is talking to us on TV isn't bought and paid for or is corrupt and is going to, but this is what we found on our test and whatever. And it may not be true, but they're the only ones allowed to speak on the subject. So that's where I come in and get arguments with people, or not arguments, but they get mad at me, is I question that stuff. Because if it's always the same guy telling me this and you have other people coming in from other science fields and all that and saying stuff, all of a sudden they're nutty. It's only this one is right and that's it.
So what if you had to make like a prediction, let's say like a year from now, what's going on in the world? What would that be?
So seeing what they're pushing right now, if you see New York where they make it mandatory, and that's, again, business choosing to do that, that's their own decision. Fine. More power to you. But when you have government, local government, or the higher U.S. government mandating that you have to have the vaccination and show proof of it to go into a business, to go to work.
Is that what they did? I don't know 100%. Or did they just make the recommendation?
My understanding is, so right now it has it for all...
in New York City.
All New York, all medical employees have to have vaccination. All government employees have to be vaccinated. And then he's trying to push for it in somewhere in a few months to go into restaurants, gyms, and some other stores. You have to be vaccinated and also have to be vaccinated to work in the store or wherever store that you're going into. A restaurant.
So like a local, like a government law.
Yeah.
Not just
the government
a business.
starts. Yeah, if it's a business doing that, that's fine. But when you got the government doing that, that starts getting scary. Because when does it stop? Because now you need it for this. Now you need to show a card for this flu. You need to show a card for this. You need to show you're vaccinated for this. Pretty soon.
I don't think that's going to happen here, though.
Well, I don't know. You never know.
Because Doug Ducey, he tweeted out like a few days ago that they passed into law you cannot mandate vaccines.
No, he can't.
Masks.
But so there's some
businesses
doing
can,
it, and that's fine. But I remember he's only in office for so long. Someone new will come in and do it.
Yeah.
But don't underestimate the power of the government, what they can and will impose and try to do.
The federal government.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. With the amount that the way that they're kind of pushing the narrative right now, to me, if they were going to mandate a vaccine for every citizen, they would have already done it by now. Don't you think?
No, it's just, if they went and tried to do that right away, they'd have major backlash and uproar on their hands, and they can't have that. Slowly start bringing it in, start getting people into it, and now, okay, majority of us on it. Half the people are with it. Now we got all their support. Now we can come in and now you got to have this.
So how do you think they would do that? They just start pressuring.
They're basically just going to weed you out. Every business is going to make you have to have vaccination
your job
to work there. You got to show proof of vaccination in a restaurant, enter any kind of place of business. They're going to weed you out to either you have to live in a community where you can't get any help or do anything, or you get forced to do it. And it's sad and scary because yes, it is dangerous, but once you go down that slope, where does it stop now?
That's what they're doing in a lot of European countries right now, and there's been people protesting and stuff like that. I wouldn't
want to live in that. Again, it's not the greatest and the best, but I'll take what we had originally here as our freedoms and laws compared to other countries. Because once again, they start imposing this stuff. It's where does it stop? Because who's going to stop them? There's not enough of us to stop the government from doing what they want to do.
So you think? What do you think a year from now, if you had to make a prediction, what's going on? Is coronavirus died down, and are people more getting back to normal? People,
sad to say, I'd like to see it die down, and the other part of me that just is not trustworthy of the government and all that is there's money to be made in this. We need to keep this going. But so we see how all these governments from local and whatever are starting to mandate this stuff. I think it's going to keep getting worse, and more states and counties are going to do it. I can see where the next thing is going to be is I want to live in this apartment complex. Unless you're vaccinated, you can't rent here, and you can't work on the grounds. I think that's the next step we're going to do. And so now it's going to weed us out even more. You can't live in this community because you're not vaccinated. And that's scary and sad because, again, where does it stop now?
Yeah, it's so like bizarre. Like this past like year or more, because it does feel like you're living kind of like in a sci-fi movie a little bit, especially with all the like the way that technology is progressing and where it's going. And it's like, fuck, like 10 years from now is gonna be like, what does the world look like, you know?
Yeah, no, it's scary. And again, it's the whole thing comes down to is, yes, it's killed a lot of people really fast, but you add up all the stuff that you can die from in this world. Where are you up in arms about that? I don't see you wearing a mask all the time since now.
You know what I think is interesting too is like the way that they've let people live in large homeless communities, like in LA. Like if you had like Skid Row, and that there's been people warning for years that this is like a breeding ground for diseases to develop and things like that, and they haven't given a shit really at all about it for a long time, and they've letting it get out. I know, but that doesn't make any sense.
The average people like us care.
Yeah.
But what are we going to do? We got the money and funds to do it. The government don't care.
But that's what I'm saying. If you care about like, you know, like public health and that sort of thing, you think that would like go along with that is not allowing this level of like filth to develop within these cities, because then, you know, diseases could come out of that, you know. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, yeah, but again, I see is most of the people that are worried about that live around it, but the wealthy, well-to-do, rich people aren't around that.
But they are, though. Yeah, they are, though. You look at like Venice Beach. Like Venice Beach.
Most
like,
of them are moving out from there. Yeah, they still live there, but it's still not, it's not on their doorstep. It's like people in North Scottsdale. They're not worried about the homeless running around downtown Phoenix.
Here's an interesting question. Do you think in the future more wealthy areas, more people are gonna, because right now like the trend during this whole like COVID thing has been like a lot of people, if you had the means, like you could get out of big suburban areas and things like that. I wonder if that's going to continue, whereas people less want to live like the way we are now, when people want to live more in areas where it's like this is like a gated community, and to be in this community you have to be a part of this community. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get in this community unless you're a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
I think they're already kind of doing that now with certain communities. You can kind of already see it.
Yeah.
And then even the ones that are living around, like in downtown Phoenix, you got those high-rise, brand new condominiums, and it's super elite. And it's, you know, they got the people in the bums right there on the street, the homeless, but they don't care because they're inside their nice little contained.
I think more people
security and
but you still have to go outside, you know.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't. They don't go outside. They order everything now. It's delivered. Everything's ordered to Amazon, Uber Eats, or Grubhub. And then when they do go out, it's kind of still protected. Their car's still in the gate. They come out of their little thing and they go to where they're going. They're not walking.
Yeah,
very few of them do.
I feel like people more, if like that trend continues of wealth disparity. You have super wealthy, and then you have people who have like nothing. I think it'd be more of like a community where like you had to be. It'd be more of like have you been to Boulder, Colorado?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Or it'd be like a smaller community, like a smaller town. But like I said, like you have to be a part of that community to go into that town. Like people moving out of major, huge, like LA type big fucking places.
Well, I mean, it's kind of happening now. I mean, everyone's moving out and coming here in groves, or just anywhere out of LA and New York and wherever else they're moving from. But I mean, you're starting to see a lot of that. But again, it's that gap is already growing bigger by the day because look how much rent and stuff's going up, how much housing prices are going up. The average person can't afford that. And these people that are rushing to buy houses now is what's wrong with you? Why? What is the big deal that you need to buy a house right now for $800,000-$900,000 when the house is only worth $200,000? The house will be there later. If not, then it's not that big of a deal. But now you're putting all this money into a house that's really not worth that. And I don't know what this big rush is to buy all these houses. Just wait it out and rent. But even the rent is going up, and that's the problem. And it's pushing average people like us at work, and we're getting by just fine. Now we're struggling. And I mean, so you're already starting to see it right now. There's a huge divide. A lot of people, once that moratorium gets lifted, there's going to be a lot of people on the streets. And that homelessness is just going to keep growing. Because that's bad. I don't know if you've been down there recently.
Where?
In LA, Venice Beach area and all that. It's just
not in like more than a year.
It's huge. The amount of homeless people lining the streets and the beach, it's just huge.
Well, I heard they just recently, Venice Beach, basically they kicked everybody off the beach and they just like moved them.
Yeah, but they're eventually going to come back because it's just spreading. They have nowhere to live.
Yeah. All they did was move them further into the city.
Right, so rich people are like, oh, we got to push them out of the way because it hurts our view.
Yeah, but can you imagine that you own like $1 million home on the beach and you walk outside and there's just like fucking all these homeless fucking tents and like God knows what's in the fucking sand.
I would be upset, but then I'd also be upset with my government and everyone else
that they're not doing anything.
This is happening.
Yeah,
and as
I think that's how people
person,
are.
I would want to live by the beach too. Cause you can go in the water,
it's beautiful.
Rinse off. Yeah, you got nice weather.
Yeah,
I mean, why not?
So what else as far as like a year from now? What else is going on? What do you think?
So obviously the food ordering and grocery, it's slowed down a little right now, but I see that taking off even more, and a lot of smaller businesses getting pushed out even more. So it's kind of sad because it's nice to have that and not go out, but you're losing contact and people are losing jobs because all these warehouses and wherever can't employ everyone. And then all these warehouses are trying to go to more machine operated stuff. So then there's less workers. So right now, these people are not worrying about the future. They're worried about their self-gratification right now. Oh, I can get this tomorrow and do it right now. When instead of getting up, taking an hour or 2 hour day to drive down to the mall and paw shop and getting the same thing and helping support them.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And so I see a lot of these businesses going away for a long time. Just what they did with the shutdown. It destroyed the economy pretty badly.
That's
what a lot of businesses not coming back.
Yeah, that's why I'm so interested to see what happens in like Phoenix and in general is because like the restaurant industry is so big here. You know, how many more? Well, because a lot of them held out.
But barely because they got funds or they had enough saved up or they got enough from the ordering of Grubhub and whatnot. But the other problem is they can't get people to come work in the food industry right now. There's a lot of the businesses are having problems with.
And why do you think that is?
Well, up until recently, you're getting unemployment.
Being at home.
Working, yeah.
Yeah, but that ended here, at least here in there. Well, the federal ended, a month ago?
On top of that, so the amount, I worked 7 days a week during the whole thing. I was worn out. I was wearing a mask up until a few weeks ago for over a year, every day. I'm tired of it. They're tired of it. We're worn out and started out because you got to remember, most people didn't come out. The only people working are people in the food industry, restaurants, emergency workers. A couple of things, but everything else was shut down.
Yeah.
So they aren't burned out. We're burned out, and they don't want to pay you anything. But they made a ton of money during that, especially the grocery stores. Don't want to pay their employees more. They made a ton of money. The CEOs are getting big bonuses, but the guys that got you all that money, what are you going to do for them?
Yeah,
so
well,
I think they're just tired and burnt out.
So what are they doing though to like incentivize people to come work for their companies? Have you seen anything recently?
There's some places hey, we'll give you a $500 sign-on bonus or this or that, but fine, that's a week's worth of work. How about you give us a better living wage? And now I understand it is hard to give higher wages to all these employees, because all these employees and people that are wanting higher wages don't understand is if they're giving you more money, they're also getting charged more. Property taxes going up. Price of food is going up. Everything is going up. It's not just
there's the whole business
all the money. So
behind it.
In the grand scheme of things, they can afford to pay their workers more. But what these workers that are complaining about this stuff don't understand is they're getting charged more on top of stuff too. For me, in the business, I see it as well. Oh, my rent's going up. Oh, my insurance rates are going up. Oh, this is going up. Oh, it costs this much now to get this shipped over from China or wherever it's coming from. There's what they don't understand, and that's the same with rent and everything else going up. And when they stop people from paying the rent, you don't have to pay it because whatever's going on. But they didn't stop the owners of that property from having to pay rent.
Yeah, the landlords.
And I'm all, why is that? And there's where the problem's coming. And then the reason they're raising the rent is property taxes are going up. I own property. I own houses. That stuff keeps going up. Didn't you have insurance? That keeps going up. Everything keeps going up. So they're upsetting it on to us to pay it off. But people don't want to look at that problem. They're just like, oh, stop it from going up. Stop this going up. Then tell these companies to stop raising stuff so they can get more money to their seat or wherever the hell it is they're trying to do. Because there should be no reason all this stuff keeps going up. So what is going up? If I had done nothing and my insurance keeps going up, what's the problem? Or same with property tax. Why is it going up? What are you doing with this extra money that you keep charging us every year?
The government. You're talking about local governments.
Yeah, local government, stuff like that. So everything keeps going up. So there's usually a cause. Sometimes it's just people being greedy, but there's usually a cause and effect to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Rent's going up. Why is the rent going up? What are they getting charged now?
Yeah.
And then the same if you live in places like a HOA or something. So not only that, if you're renting in the HOA community, that owner has also got to raise rent because now the HOA fees are going up, which is HOA needs to be getting rid of. If anything, if the government wants to step in and do something good for everyone, get rid of HOAs altogether. That's one thing I can see. I'd be happy for a government mandate.
But you can choose not to live in a community with an HOA.
But
so that's kind of
all of them are doing that now. Almost every new community you go, it's HOA.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Even where I'm renting, there's an HOA fee. What they do with that, I have no idea because the grounds are crap. Nothing's ever done. And I'm going in their pocket.
Yeah.
But get rid of the HOA. For the most part, they do nothing good at all. Just let people live. They complain about everything.
Yeah. HOAs can be a pain in the ass sometimes. It depends on, I understand it in some ways because like if you go into some, like if you live in a nice area and you don't have a powerful HOA, for the most part, people are going to keep their shit in line. But if you live in a shitty area, then you have your neighbor painting their fucking house pink and they have I drive by some house the other day and they have a fucking dragon out in the front yard.
So in theory, HOA is good. Yeah. But the problem is usually the people that are on the board and getting it, they have a power trip and they're cranky.
Yeah.
Jackwings. I mean, they hate everything. I don't like his dog. Oh, his hair's too long on it. Oh, the grass is. That's when you start getting the problems. And so yes, there is a good part to it, but I grew up as a kid in California in a neighborhood. There was no HOA, and people were doing crazy stuff with their yards and whatever, but we never had problems with them. They were fun, they were cool, whatever.
Yeah.
And you weren't worried about it so much. If you didn't like it, then you moved out.
Yeah, hold on. I got to turn like the AC down real quick because it's like hot as fuck in here. Real quick.
Commercial break.
Yeah, 1 second. This is totally random.
So yeah, no, I mean it's getting scary because again everything is getting divided up into these groups right now, and if you ain't got the money to live somewhere, then you're going to be out in the street or any area you don't want to live in, probably.
That's why I think it's so appealing for younger people, because I've thought about it a lot, moving out of the country. I think it's very appealing to a lot of people because, you know, you can potentially go somewhere, some economy that has some different opportunities going on, or the living costs are lower.
Yeah.
Like I think about Thailand a lot. Like I always fantasize about Thailand.
Yeah, I like to go there. So I want to tell you, I'm not moving out of the country because I don't like this country. I'm moving out of the country because I want to be in the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
I love it down there. And the goal is to live down there half a year, here half a year, or maybe 3/4 of the year down there and up here, wherever works out. But I'm not moving here because I'm scared of what I think might happen or not going to happen. I like that whole tropical vibe and what's going on. And depending on where you're at, there's some cool stuff to do that you maybe travel around and do here. But I want to live around that all year long. I want to live the beach life.
Yeah,
sounds fun to me.
It doesn't get much better than living close to the beach. You know,
and for some, it may be up in the mountains. Then fine, go live in the mountains. But yeah, it's not because I don't like this country. Trust me, it'd be a big change living down in our country for sure. Of what you can get and can't get. I mean, it's a big life change for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the most appealing things about living in the U.S. is very comfortable. You know, to a lot of people, like to give up a lot of the comforts that we have here would be kind of a struggle. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think right now people where they're going with this stuff are getting ready to give up a big comfort, and that's their freedom. I mean. Pushing it that way, and people are going with it. And I know it's scary, and I know it's sad, and I know people die, but that should be our choice. Yeah. Now, again, I understand you don't want me giving it to you and killing you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had the vaccine and the chances you get are less, and if you do get it, it's mild, you really should have nothing to worry about.
That's my biggest thing is the whole like informed consent thing. Is that I want to at least have some knowledge of, other than take this, don't worry about it. I want to have at least some knowledge of, because I'm young, you're young. You know, I could understand if you were like older and you're definitely high risk and odds are that it's in your favor to do this. But for somebody that is younger and to not even know any potential risk, that's why I'm interested. If it does get full FDA approval soon, what are the potential side effects that they list? And then, like you said, that should be...
Well, it'll definitely make a lot more people be willing to get it now.
Yeah, and at least aware.
It's like, okay, you got FDA approval now. But again, that's just what I was talking about earlier, is how many people for this, they're not willing to wait for FDA approval. But if FDA doesn't approve some kind of drug, or they take away their approval on it, I can't take that no more. It's bad or it's dangerous. It's like, a double-sided coin there. It's... do what is right for you now, but later, it's different. It's not the same thing. And then as far as us giving it to people and those that are at higher risk, yes, there are elderly people that are out in the world enjoying it and they're at high risk. And then you got the ones that are stuck in elderly care homes. Last time I went walking around one of those for the fun of it was never. So they shouldn't have to worry about me giving it to them at high risk.
But I think they're worried about like family members or people that work there. You're coming visiting.
Unless you just
you're giving grandma fucking...
Unless you just dropped out of the womb yesterday, you've been living on this world long enough to know that you can die from all kinds of stuff, and you can get cancer, which you can get from who knows what. No cure for that. You can get AIDS, you can get STDs, herpes, you can get pneumonia, you can get the flu, you can get all kinds of weird crap. If you're really that scared, then stop living. Don't come out. Stay in your place. Let us that want to enjoy it go live and mingle with people and make out and make bad mistakes and do stupid stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem, is there's so many people that are so scared because it's been
because that's all it's blasted to them all day on the news and TV and social media.
So it's enough people, though, is what I'm saying. There's enough people to and then you have the government, dictating what's going on. So it's just enough people that'll go along with that narrative.
Oh, yeah, and there's always going to be that, and it's never going to change, and that's fine. That's the beauty of living in this country. We don't have to agree on everything, and we can choose to do what we want. But now it's like the total opposite, and it just all goes along to with the cancel culture stuff. It's if
Yeah.
you're not going to get this,
So
then you
let's
can't live and you can't shop and you can't do this and you can't hang with me and you can't do anything.
let's talk about that, because like you're a little bit older than me, but we both grew up. That's why I think like the people who grew up in our sort of like generation or whatever, it's kind of like different than Gen Z or like some of the other generations, because like when we grew up, like I was old enough to remember like 9/11 and how that all went down, and that was something that was, you know, really profound to me at that age. And then you and I both grew up to watch the internet evolve and expand, and like MySpace was the first social media platform that
And the better
I
one.
kind of, you think? Yeah, I
Oh,
kind of
yeah, I enjoyed it. It was way better.
But anyways, like we grew up, I think we were the first generation that grew up with the internet, you know, or maybe the millennials were the first generation that grew up with the internet. But then now you have the younger generation that is growing up with a different type of internet. I don't know. I'm interested to see how that all progresses with as far as people in general, because it seems like a lot of young people, you know, they're all in as far as like putting themselves out there on the internet. And I think that was like a little different with our generation for some reason. I don't know why. People were less.
Well, it wasn't as high tech back then, so there's still a lot of anonymity to it. You weren't necessarily seeing. I mean, the footage or the cameras didn't come in until late '90s, early 2000s. So I mean, you couldn't really be seen on there. But yeah, it's these younger people that grew up on it. That's all they know. I mean, if they literally were to lose the internet and
TikTok
service and all that stuff, they wouldn't know that they'd have. I mean, they'd eventually find something new, but they'd be lost. They'd be like, "What? What did I do?"
So where do you see that going? You think that just continues to progress and people become more and more?
So,
I don't know how many more. I don't know how much more, because we already spend so much. Like, unless you work a job where you're doing something physical, most people spend the majority of their day online, doing something with a computer.
What even those guys do? Drive down the road and see City of Phoenix Scottsdale workers. If they're not actually doing something, they're on their phone.
Yeah,
You'll see them.
So where do you think in the future, where do you think that's going as far as people, technology, all that sort of stuff?
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely controlling our lives. It's a big part of people's jobs. I mean, if they take that away, which I think they should, like if you're going into work, just make them lock their phones up in their locker or something so you can get some work done. But I don't know. I can see going away. I mean,
you're into like sci-fi movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're still always going to have the people that have to do the manual labor and build stuff and all that.
Yeah.
But majority of these jobs, like you're seeing, everyone's ordering stuff online, everyone's working from home. I mean, and the ones that have the money can afford to hire people like us, the gig workers, to do everything for them. I mean, there's pretty much a gig work for anything you need done nowadays. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't have to leave the comfort of your home to find anything you need, have anything done to your house, whatever. You don't ever have to leave.
Shit, sorry.
So I don't know where it's going, but I also know is I don't want it going the way it is in other countries like China and all those places, like how regulated it is over there, what you can see on the internet, what sites are allowed on it, what companies are allowed to interact with, and I'm just scared to me. So yeah, I don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, that's why I'm so fascinated. Like 10 years from now, what's going to be going on with people and society, and
I think it's gonna be really divided.
Yeah, hopefully not. You know, but you never know. I don't know. Like, what's the most likely scenario that you could see in the future? What's with like you said, it keeps progressing with. Okay, yeah. Now you have a large percentage of people working online. You can work remotely, which I think is a good thing. I think that's kind of cool. How you
there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Yeah. Well, if it keeps going the way it's going right now, where they're pushing hardcore to have all the mandatory vaccinations, and you got to show a piece of paper or passport that you're vaccinated to travel and do all that, I literally see that getting worse, and it's going to be, if we live in Phoenix, this half of Phoenix, these county cities, you're not allowed in. They'll have checks, and you can't go in there unless you're vaccinated. Can't live there, can't work there. That's what again, that's going to the extreme, but that's what I can see happening. I mean, they're pushing for that now. I mean, you can't come in this restaurant, can't come in this place, and that's being mandated by a government. What's to stop it from can't live in this apartment complex, can't live in this neighborhood?
Yeah. I don't want to get like too like crazy down like a rabbit hole or whatever. People be like, "What the fuck is going on?" But have you ever heard of the Georgia Guidestones? Have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah.
You've heard of that before?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
It's crazy stuff.
For people that don't know, like there's this, I can't remember where exactly it is in Georgia. There's this structure that somebody funded and built. I can't remember when it was.
Isn't
Maybe
it
the
by
80s.
downtown or by the government courthouse or something?
I don't know. I think it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere as far as like what I've seen online. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's these granite pillars that somebody funded to build, and basically it has, I'll look it up real quick, you can talk about it, but it has different languages on it, and it kind of goes through these different commandments of what people should do if there was kind of like an end of the world, like doomsday type situation, right? I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah, it's some also maybe a certain amount of population, stuff like that as well, wasn't it talking about?
Yeah, 500 million.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't know who writes this stuff, but I mean, you just look back at even all the old documents and papers from all countries that come out, and there's some crazy stuff in some of that.
So what do you think about that whole? I think essentially the first one is the world population should be 500 million or under. Obviously, we're way over that right now.
Yeah, I heard now again. I don't know because I haven't looked it up. I just heard rumors, through internet and people talking about that. Bill Gates should be a less population.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, so I can't really speak on that. Okay, so it was opened in March 22nd, 1980. Granite monument erected in 1980 in Elbert County, Georgia, in the United States. A set of 10 guidelines inscribed on the structure in 8 modern languages, and a shorter message is inscribed at the top of the structure in 4 ancient language scripts. I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah. And they don't know who built it?
No, it's somebody anonymous. It was some anonymous people who funded the building of it. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
Well,
so
that's the fun stuff. You just getting into being stupid and conspiracy. That's kind of fun. So you make a cool movie out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like National Treasure movies. I don't know if you've ever seen those. With Nicolas Cage.
No. Oh, I think I might have seen.
It deals with like the Illuminati and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or the Freemasons and stuff like that. It's cool stuff you can get into, whether you believe it or not. But it's still a fun adventure movie. So I'm surprised they haven't done something on that yet. You can do all kinds of conspiracy stuff with that and make it cool, interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I'm not a big conspiracy person, and I don't like to get too dive too deeply into it.
Yeah.
In some of them, because I just feel like
Well, it never ends. You can just keep going and going.
Yeah,
and going
exactly.
and going.
And you just get more kind of nutty. But there is crazy shit that happens all over the world all the time. So I don't know. I just think some of them are kind of interesting, and I don't know. It's interesting that somebody would fund a structure like that, and then be able to stay up. And
I'm surprised they haven't ripped that down yet. Actually,
Yeah,
to tell you the truth, the way they're ripping everything else down now. But yeah, I don't know. But as far as I know, if all this stuff is going on, whatever it is, the only thing I can say is do whatever you think is right for you and yourself.
And be nice to people.
Don't try to impose that onto other people that don't want it. If you don't want to hang around those other people that are like that, then fine. But be careful what you're wishing for and what you're liking and what you want to happen, because once you go down that road, it's very hard to get that back, what you had before. You're going to lose your freedoms for safety that may not be there. Because even if you have the vaccine, it's always going to be there. So again, just be healthy, eat healthy, live healthy, wash your damn hands, be clean, and just live life like you've been living life before this. Because we're all going to die eventually. That's all I can say. I mean, it sucks, but I'm tired. I want to go out and back to some concerts.
Enjoy
and
your
have fun.
life. Yeah, exactly. That's what I look forward to, the concert.
Stop worrying
for
about
sure.
what I'm doing. Now,
Yeah.
again, if I'm coming into your house and coughing on you and spitting, yeah, I can see you getting pissed off. I don't blame you. But it ain't happening, so.
All right, well, this was kind of totally fucking random. And like I said, it's been a while. We're testing some new equipment, so hopefully, you know,
And we're
we'll
not
have some-
nutty, seriously.
Yeah. Only a little bit, but hopefully, like I said, we'll try to have some good local people here on soon and try to continue to do this. And I'd like to do something. I don't know. We'll see where this goes, but I'd like to have more people on kind of regularly in the future and just kind of be able to bullshit and talk about whatever. So I'm still trying to figure out like how to do this. Maybe I should do more of like some sort of like plan or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the way I've been doing it is I just wing it basically, you know?
Well, that's what we're doing. It's always fun to talk about stuff and ask questions and see what people are thinking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, give them a like.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Subscribe.
That helped. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks, man, for coming on.
thanks
Is there
for
anything
having
else
me.
you want to bring up, or
No.
anything else going on, or just living
Just what I
life?
said earlier, just be safe, have fun, and
Yeah.
enjoy life while you can. It's too short already.
Hell yeah, cool. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.